Alright, so today I'm going to leave off where I left with the other two presentations because they kind of come together in a small way, and there is a good launching pad for the Sebring family that I'm going to go up that line. I'll touch on other lines. This is a Dutch New Amsterdam line of people. So, Henrietta Louisa Sebring married John Birkenbein Chichester, and we know that because somewhere around here. Not because some webpage. Because of a published book, New York Methodist Marriages. We know it for a number of counts, but we'll start with this. So, page 109 starts here. It's their marriage date, December 16th, 1841. Now, records surrounding their deaths and who their heirs are is plentiful for both these. He has a will. She has a will. And there's some records that came out of Greenwood Cemetery that also, where they're buried, that also show that she has some heirs that she is named to be eligible to be buried in the plots over there at Greenwood Cemetery. We'll start out with her mom's probate, and this is the key document here. Now, the birth dates for all these people come from a book called Sebring Collections that is now available. You can download from FamilySearch.org. The original author is working on it, worked on it, and in that book he references a letter that was written by Alfred Augustus Chichester sometime in February, the year that he died, 1879. For some odd reason, her brother doesn't say who Henrietta, my ancestor, is married to. Anyway, in that letter, apparently, I haven't seen the original, but by the book, that's kind of getting off the beaten path here. So, Judith, who married Sebring, became a Sebring. Pretty much, this is a form that declares, that Judith Sebring and Alfred Sebring, Jacob Sebring, Sarah Ann Sebring, Thomas Delano, Margaret Delano, John B. Chichester, Henrietta Chichester, Susan A. Price, George A. Ziegler, and Adelaide A. Ziegler, all of the state of New York, are held and firmly bound under the people of the state of New York. So $20,000 to that Judith Sebring shall faithfully execute the trust reposed in her as the administratrix of Jacob L. Sebring's stuff. His estate. So that was in 1847. I don't think hers is that. No, it still is. So actually, those are administrative records. I have them mislabeled. And it's the same thing. So that's all he has, but it shows what Sebring Collections is going to tell us and what some of the burial records are going to tell us. And well, these birth dates, these all come from the book called Sebring Collections, which I have here. Downloaded it from FamilySearch.org. I think it's like 25 or 28 or 30 or oh, all right. Lubertson. Okay. Where the hell are we? I know it isn't that early. Well, I guess I'll push. Alright, fine. Page 60. This is what we're looking for. So the birth dates, all that to make one point. The birth dates I got in here come from here. Now the background, it's pretty compact, but it's also pretty concise. This part I don't have any, I've used, but I don't have any proof for. It was Sarah Laycraft, so let's go over this. Where is this whole thing going? So, Jacob Laycraft Sebring married Judith Lowe. And of course, the L is assumed to be Laycraft. Then we have Sarah Laycraft and Jan Sebring. The baptismal record is the only thing that connects these two. There's no will here. This comes from the Amsterdam Dutch Reformed Church marriages. Or sorry, baptisms, 1771, August 4th. There he is, and it's got John Sebring and Sarah Laycraft. And that kind of baptismal record is somewhat of a marriage date substitute. And there's such an abundance. What can throw someone a bit is between this generation and this generation, that's all we have, a birth record. Between this generation and this generation, we have 2 probate records and cemetery records. So, okay. So all these, 15th May, 1809, blah, blah, going down, all come from here. And I only recently got this thing. Those birth records were transcribed a family tree that had been up at Ancestry.com a while back, and I used it and went with it. And the reason why I used it is because analytically the dates made sense. The births are spaced about a year or 2 apart. They start after the marriage date. Let's see, they got something for Jacob. 13th March 1816. So there's some things I have to change here. Whoever had entered this stuff over at Ancestry hadn't supplied that birth date yet. Or if they did, I didn't get it in there. And there's also a newspaper notice as a special bonus. So there's plenty. And this works very nicely. Sons Alfred, Jacob, James, son-in-law Thomas Delano, John B. Chichester, and George Frederick Ziegler. So Alfred, Jacob, James, Margaret married Thomas Delano. I should have a note for her, but I don't. And John B. Chichester, of course, married Henrietta Louisa, which is why I'm even here. And is this still in there? Oh, great. And Ziegler, I think he married. Yeah, she died single. And there's a probate record for her. And there's also Susan, who married David Price, which is only apparent after you look at the one of the probate records. And then George Frederick Ziegler. So she married. Okay. Judith Lowe, Jacob Lakecraft Sebring. Well, we might as well just take a look at their wills, things like that. So here we are. This is actually... This is the administration record. If I didn't show this already, we have Judith Sebring is the widow, is asking to administrate the estate. Alright, I want to keep this straight. Sons. Children, Alfred Augustus, Jacob, Sarah, Thomas Delano, who is Margaret's wife. Margaret Delano, of course, she's listed. John B. Chichester, Henrietta. There's John B. Susan A. Price. This is the one where you can find out that she married A. Price. There's another one that has David Price in there. And there it is, David. Not quite scratched out. George F. Ziegler, and Adelaide A. Ziegler. All of the city of New York. All from the city. Okay. Now, something to note here. Where is she? It's a bit small for this. Okay. They get married in 1841. I'm just going to make a note of that. And he, as we recall from my last recording, John Birkenbein, he's the son of Birkenbein, and he has his mom, has a brother named Henry Peter Miller Birkenbein. He was 1819, 1866. Okay, so we're going to remember that part. Aren't we? Good. Alright, so let's go to Henrietta. No, wrong one. So. Okay, so he's married Henrietta Louisa Sebring. So we got that part so far. He's showing up. It's pretty clear. I mean, there's no way to doubt or reason to doubt. There isn't much reason to doubt this is the same John B. Aren't a lot of Chichesters out there. He died in Brooklyn. He's buried in the same cemetery next to the family. But here's some glue. So why don't we do this? I think I have this mislabeled as Sarah Lakecraft or something. Where is daughter. Different generation. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at Sir Laycraft's probate record. This is interesting. I actually hadn't seen this before. Got this from Ancestry a couple hours ago. And what happens here is that Judith Sebring, the mother of Sarah, who died single, petitioned the court to administrate the estate. And what's important is she mentions that she's the mother of the deceased, and Alfred A. Sebring, Jacob L. Sebring, James E. Sebring, Henrietta L., wife of John B. Chichester, and Susan. God, I can't read that. Anne, I guess. Maybe it's Apollonia? Wife of David Price, Adelaide A., wife of George F. Ziegler. Her brothers and sisters, all full age. Also James M. Delano, Thomas Delano, Charles Delano, children of Margaret Delano. She just wants to administer the estate of her daughter. Okay, so now got that part. Jacob L. Let's look at his. I think we already did look at it, so it's getting to the point of overkill. This is just his probe administration record. So the birth dates aren't exact, but in Sebring collection, or they are exact, but in Sebring collections, go back. Here, the individual on page, God, what was it? 78 or something. I have to find this again. I want to find this again. Alright, here it is. So it's got a reference to a letter that was written by Alfred Sebring to William Sebring, that the writer of this, somehow got their hands on, and these are where all these dates come from. Okay, so we're trying to move up this ladder here. Birth dates, I haven't seen anywhere else but in that book. They might be out now. Don't know where they were baptized. I don't think they were Methodist. Both branches of this family have baptisms at Dutch Reformed churches going back for over 100 years. Both they were baptized at a Dutch Reformed church. Okay. Now, getting from this Jan to this, or I guess it's really John. From this John to Jacob Laycraft, the only record that connects them is not by will, but by the baptism record for this Jacob Laycraft Sebring. The strange thing about it is, the reason why I have some doubt that the mother is Sarah Laycraft is because the marriage record for them at the Dutch Reformed Church says he married a Sarah Gibbs. She did marry a Gibbs. As far as I know, that was after this had taken place. Let me see. No, she first married a John Gibbs, so that's why it says Sarah Gibbs. Take that back. So it says John died in the summer of 1816. And so we're relying on family records. This Alfred A. Sebring is a brother or a son of Jacob Laycraft. Don't see why there should be any reason to doubt what a cousin family member has said. Again, the birth record solidifies this individual's relationship to these two people. Don't know who the parents are on the Laycraft side, and right now we're going up the Sebring side anyway. Don't know where they got the idea of Eliza and Phoebe. They are listed. It's got him marrying Judith Lowe. But we do have some comfort that some family member is saying that this is what it was. 6 months before Alfred Augustus Sebring died, he wrote a letter to I think it's William Sebring. He's would be an uncle of mine, or cousin of mine, not a direct line. William H. Sebring. So there are, this is a second-hand written account that also reinforces what the baptismal records tell us. Now we're interested in connecting Jacob Cornelius Sebring to our John, and or Jan if you want to go by Dutch. I have not, so I don't believe I have. I don't have a marriage record, but I do have a will, I think, for Jacob Cornelius Sebring. Before we get too deep into this, his son Isaac and his son Cornelius both left wills, and apparently his granddaughter and or son married his granddaughter or son. So let's take a look at this stuff. And this is from the collection of the New York Historical Society, where they put the stuff in a book somewhere. And Brookland is Brooklyn, like Dodges. Brooklyn, Dodges, Brooklyn. Alright. Isaac Sebring, okay. Under my son Cornelius. Okay, that's not what we're really concerned about. What we are concerned about is my grandchildren by my daughter Alti, now deceased, spouse of Cornelius Sebring. Okay. This is what happens when you decide you're only going to have, only going to marry other Dutch people. Okay. After a while, you know, you have to integrate. And actually, in truth, the first, this generation here is the first time this Dutch family actually married an Englishman. You know, of course, they're all Americans, but you know, this population was kept separate. They stayed separate for whatever reason. And they did have intermarriages from French Huguenots in the early days, but besides that, no. Alright, so let's get back to Jacob Cornelius. After we look at his son Cornelius as well. He died without issue, otherwise known as DSP. And Cornelius Sebring, the city of the New York merchant, lived in a perfect mind and memory, and understanding do make this my last will and testament. Okay. Give all my stuff to my brothers John, Jacob, Jingleheimer, Isaac, and John, Jacob, Isaac, Joseph, and sister Feminine and Catherine. Let's take a look. Now, some of these birth dates I was able to get from God knows where. Some of these birth dates I was able to get from Dutch Reformed Church. And I may not have referenced it in on these, as a problem is, you know, I like to transcribe things, but it could take a while. So let's go. John, Jacob, Jingleheimer, Isaac. And he mentions brother Joseph here. John, Jacob, Isaac, and doesn't mention his brother Joseph. Let's see, when the hell did he make this thing? The 8th day of July, year of our Lord 1774. 1774. And we'll use the generic New York because we're lazy. Alright, I think he was born somewhere in there. I'm not going to cheat by looking at Sebring collections. I'm just not going to do that. I refuse to. I'm going to find these birth records on my own. Unlike with the next generation where I did cheat, so maybe I will look at Sebring collections. This is Jacob Feminine Van de Vaar. Alright. Can't think of this. 72. What is it? Got it. Any. Okay, Feminine 7. Is the right one? Is this the right one? Bueller. I think they were doing double dates at the time. They shouldn't have been doing double dates, so it actually was 1738. Rainer Sunayam. I was able to find a record for that. So I got this book later. In fact, now I'm going to check my stuff, and you're going to watch. Isn't that fun? Then John, baptized. Oh, no. There he is. There he is. In Brooklyn Reformed Dutch Church. Born at Red Hook, where his father lived and owned flour mills. John died in the summer of 1816, per Alfred A. Sebring's letter to his nephew, William Henry Sebring. John Sebring married Sarah Laycraft. Summer of 1816. Ha! God, I did one better on you. Somewhere I find that death record. Where did I find that? New York Evening Post. This morning, died, February 14th. Done. Alright, yeah, I really have the article, okay? I didn't make that up. I really got it. Okay. And Jacob, about 1740, where do I have 1751? He married 1766 at age, what, 14? It's a youngin', alright. Margaret, about 1742. So they don't have anything more exact than I do. Isaac, 1746, and Catherine, 1740. What are they? Are they twins? Ayalti, I guess, or how do you pronounce that? During the Great European Wars, beginning in 1793, Clarkson and Sebring lost 7 ships to French privateers. When the United States purchased Louisiana, the U.S. government took over the claims against Napoleon for those losses. What? Years later, descendants of Sebring tried to collect a claim for those ships, but the death of those involved stopped the action. Cornelius J. and no male heirs, and willed part of his holdings to his brother John. I didn't know we took over. Why would we take over the debts for the French? I saw some other genealogy book. Oh yeah, some clerk took off to Canada with all the birth records. No, not this. It's not related to this one, but you know, I've seen that kind of stuff before. It's like, yeah, right. Prove it. This Cornelius may be the one married to Jane Goss. Alright, get out of your collections, you bother me. Alright, so when was hereof here to put my hand and seal the presence of God? The subscribing witnesses do declare. Okay. So he's got, you know, brothers. Who is this? Who the hell am I looking at here? What am I even doing? Not this thing. This is Cornelius as well. It's a little more clear that there's a relationship. Now let's get to the grand finale. Just read the dad's will and quit. You know, let's quit messing around. Let's just get to it. All right, let's do that, shall we? So this is Jacob. Don't need that one, do we? Don't need that one, do we? Don't need that one, do we? So this is his will, or you know, probate record, whatever. Oh, this is funny. The 15th day of... Oh, no, it's not this one. It's the next one. So the 15th day of February 1776. You know it is. 15th day of February 1776. In the 17th year of His Majesty's reign, I, Jacob... That's right, 1776. Months before the Declaration of Independence. But of course they lived in New York City, and the British occupied New York City. But this is before that all happened. I, Jacob Sebring, in the township of Brooklyn, in Kings County, home of the Dodgers, on the island of Nassau, in the province of New York, yeoman, being a person very well in good health and perfect memory, thanks be given to God. They always say that. Therefore, calling to mind the mentality of my body, and knowing, pointing to all men. Okay. Okay, let's who you can give the stuff to. Okay, let's get to that part. Hereinafter shall pay out of my estate before any division made unto my son John Sebring. That would be him. Heirs and assigns forever the sum of £10. Don't spend it all in one place. Okay. That was a lot back then. Okay, so then I here devise, and my wife Femenged, however you spell that, during the time, as long as she doesn't get married again, I'll give her money. She's got a first choice of room, and then he mentions this grandson, John Sudim. Should be this here, but I'm not. The scope of my research are my ancestors and their siblings, okay? Sometimes I go beyond that if I'm trying to solve something tough, but... Okay. Are we done here? Have I read all this stuff? Let's look at this stuff. Jacob Sebring, I give and devise my two sons, Jacob Sebring and Isaac Sebring. That's a little misleading. He's got other sons, he just doesn't count more than two at a time. Jacob Sebring, Isaac Sebring. So we got the John, Jacob, Isaac Keimel Schmidt. Resigns forever, given my son John Sebring. £250. He was a good boy. But Jacob was a better boy, and so was Isaac, so I'm going to give him £230. In 8 equal payments. £770. The price is right. I'm telling you. Okay, going Joseph Sebring. We're recycling names here. How's about the other people? How's about the little people? Daughter Femininity Renner Sinyam. Now I gotta remember when this person died. This is 1775. His probate cleared to say he already died. Right? He's not mentioning his wife. She already died. John's still alive. He's not. Is he mentioning Margaret? He doesn't mention Margaret. Catherine. Okay. And they married in 1771, and he died later. We should probably mention Catherine Curry. Daughter Katharina. Sebring and her heirs and assigns forever £700. £200 out of the said £700 until she gains £500. Jacob Sebring, the Isaac Sebring, shall pay upon demand the said daughter Katharina Sebring. So it's strange he doesn't mention her last name. Maybe they... Maybe they eloped. And I can spell. Okay, Yalti. Yes, you know, didn't he mention that person? But she already, maybe she passed away. Yes, she did. Yeah, she was already dead, so that's why she's mentioning. That's why this guy mentioned his grandson. Try to be nice to everybody. Some people get 700 pounds, and some people get 2. From my will, if any of my children shall happen to die without issue, that then such share, a portion shall be equally divided, share and share alike amongst my surviving children and their heirs and sons, for their children of their children of their children of the children's children. Jake, okay, we're going in circles here. I think we got them all. Son-in-law Rainier Sunam. It's going to be a executor. Alright. Alright, do I have all these facts together? Now, the rest of this stuff either got from the book, okay, that I just showed you, or I was able to scrounge up maybe somewhere a birth record from some place that asserts it somewhere, somehow, over the rainbow. Here's a marriage record. He must have died without issues. This is after 20, okay. And unfortunately, this family were a family of slaveholders. Downtown New York City, they held slaves. I didn't expect that. The Burgess line, they don't do slaves. This line, I wish they didn't do slaves. The Chichesters didn't do slaves. It's unfortunate. All right. So how do we get from Jacob Cornelius, where do we get this Feminici van der Viver connection here? Got this from the book. So I wish I could find a marriage record here. Wish I didn't find baptismal records. Basically, when it comes down to the evidence I have here, the saying is, I know the wife's name was Feminingity. I don't know her last name was van der Veer. Okay, unless I find a will naming a grandson Sebring. And I don't think I have anything here. No, not yet. I don't really have proof that she was a van der Veer. I'm relying on people's work. I do know that Jacob Cornelius Sebring was the father of John Sebring. Okay? So we're going to keep working our way back. Alright, so then we got Cornelius Jounce Sebring. There we go. Oh, yeah, let's open this thing up. Take a look at it. Zoom in. Zoom out a little bit there. Make this bigger. What are we looking at? Oh, God, I can't even read this. It's 23rd day of May, 1720. I, Cornelius Sebring of the township of Brookland, County of Nassau Island, New York, declare this my last will and testament. Alright. First commit my hands, the commands of my soul, the hands of the Almighty God, hoping through the merits of death and you just hear what the preachers say. Everybody knows what needs to go in their will in the beginning at this day and age. Forgive us of my sins and inherit the everlasting peace of the body of the commute of the earth. Be decently and well buried somewhere. Of course. Hold my funeral charges. Then goes, I declare my dear beloved wife, Algity, to be the only full and sole executors of my last will and testament. However that's pronounced. I wish I knew how that was pronounced. Alright, let's see what we got here. Do we have... Yes, we have baptism records. We have them. Now, one thing about this, I should mention, going down a little bit further. If the frickin' state of New Jersey, okay, so they probably, I think, they probably were not born in Brooklyn. I think they were born in New Jersey. British occupation. I'd be able to get more exact records if the folks in New Jersey would release their birth records. Or I just don't know where to find it. I don't know what church they went to. You know, in the earlier days, there was the church in New York City that was the Dutch church. And then when New York City became bigger, there were many of them. And they popped up everywhere. And so, and I'm going off what the book says, basically, I believe. Let's make sure. Jake Cornelius and Femige Bandevere. This thing. Baptized. We have. Is this the one? Didn't I just do this? Yeah, I just did this. Okay, can we just go? I'm gonna leave that minimized. Alright, so. Yeah, I was gonna look at his will, right? I was reading it, wasn't I? I was reading this guy's will. And the reason why it says between is between the date he wrote the will and the date the will was proved. And it's probably closer to the date the will was proved. What does it mean a will is proved? Well, they take the will into court and they talk to witnesses, and the witnesses, yes, I was there when he signed this will, and he made me a witness, and I'm willing to testify that this is what he wrote. You know, I saw him write it on paper. And he, okay. Now, let's see if we can account for these children here, because we don't really have many birth dates, which is, well, now we started to get some. A couple we don't got. Alright, so. His wife outlived him. We were talking about his wife, wasn't he? Wasn't he talking about his wife? I heard him talking about his wife. Beloved wife. What? During her natural life, she shall not intend. She shall not intend and complete a second marriage. Okay. Sons Frederick and Johannes. You just have to get permission to get married back in those days. That's kind of strange. That's weird. If she gets married, she has to take an inventory of all the stuff that I own and pass it out to their kids. Come on. Okay, so we have Frederick, Johannes, Isaac, Jacob, and Abraham. Isaac, Jacob, and Abraham. Then we can name his daughters. Then we have Henrietta, the wife of Thomas, Farden. Thomas Furden. That sounds like Thomas Furden to me. Catherine, the wife of John Ribbon. Hibben. John Bona Hibben. Alright, and Cornelia, the wife of Daniel Polhemus. And Elizabeth and Maria. So we have Elizabeth and a problem like Maria. I think so. Cornelia was Daniel Polhemus. There they are. My dear beloved wife, Alti. I dearly beloved you, and if you ever try to get married, you're going to pass out. It's crazy. Alright. So we're done here with this part. Now we have to make a connection between John Rolofs and Cornelius Jantz. Few birth records here. Jan Rolofs, Sebring, Adriana Polhemus, Child Daniel, 1682. The rest we don't know, and I don't know why I got these people in New York. This is a little bit early. Seems a bit early. That seems a bit late. But those glue the two together, so we're good. All right. And we don't know when he arrived. They don't have passenger lists from that time. Someone claimed they had a birth date, so I used it. So anyway, and this guy was married twice. Polhemus. Now, Johannes Theodorus Polhemus is a very interesting character. He was in... I'll just do it now. So he was a minister in Brazil. I'm not sure whether he'd be from Bavaria. I thought he was from Holland. He was a minister for the Dutch Reformed Church in Brazil. The Portuguese kicked the tar out of the Netherlands people, Holland, and kicked them out. These four were probably born on the island of Itamarica. What ended up happening is they left first, and he was sticking around. He put all this stuff in this boat that was arranged for. It's part of the peace deal they brokered. The ship took off, and it got taken over by pirates. Then another pirate ship came along, and this was a French ship, but they were willing to take the Dutch people over to not back to Amsterdam, but to New Amsterdam. And actually, his first wife was still over in Holland. And how his daughter made it there, I don't know. And I'm just doing this off memory, so if I get it wrong, ask for a refund. Okay. Now, he had 4 known children by, not necessarily by birth date, by historical context or something. Maybe he had a will. I got to look it up. I haven't looked it up. So I got too much in here. I'll get into this stuff later. Adriana's who we're interested in. And supposedly this guy died in New Jersey. Seems a little bit different, but supposedly. Let's go look and see if he's got a freaking will. How about that? No, he doesn't. Not that I found. I have not found one. For Roloff. Let me look through this file to see what's applicable and what's not. So I'll read this on behalf of my distant ancestor. Noble Sir General Counts, Honorable General in the Netherlands, I am compelled to respectfully complain to your honor that I must see the planks given by your honor out of compassion and presented to the community here to finish my house against this cold winter. Being taken and lost this way and that, for instance, 2 were lost on the way here by having been left on the beach in nobody's care. After having been brought into the village without my knowledge, 24 were delivered to... And he's talking about the building material for his house. Oh, that's not so exciting. And it talks about Adriana. He just can't find a baptism record. So maybe she didn't exist. Okay? How about that? Alright, let's see. I'm going to pause to see what's appropriate in this folder here. Alright, and although this looks official, it's got the word church on the page and neatly indented records. It's not an original record. All right, here's another book here. Genealogies of Long Island Families. Albertsons of Polhemus. This is done by Hayward Peck of the Great Neck, New York. Probably on the island of Itamica, Brazil, before 1702. No baptismal record, because even though he was the minister there, no record survives for Itamica. And probably the reason why that is because the boat was hijacked by pirates. This is kind of interesting. This is actually attached to Jacob L. Sebring's record. The deal is, there's got to be some kind of historical account. I mean, I'm going off of other people's work, basically, to accept that the father of these people, or especially of my ancestor, he was Cornelius Jans, was the son of these two here. There's some book called Colonial Manuscripts in New York, page 136. It says he must have had some kind of testimony somewhere, because they said he was 48 years old on October 10th, 1679. A native of the island of Drenthe. married on about 1644, which I got a little bit different than that. Her father, Johannes Theodorus Polhemus, was minister there. Her mother is Katerina van der Werven. Jan immigrated to New Amsterdam. It is controversial when he arrived, maybe as early as 1654. So this is one of... And I don't know if the Dutch did wills back then. Anyway, we'll pause a little. No, I'm going to go over this thing. So this has to do with Jacob L. Sebring and Thomas Carpenter. Let's go back here. Where the hell is it? Is that it? No. Wrong one. John. Here it is. Jacob L. Sebring. He was married to Judith Lowe. So this is a court for the trial of impeachments and the correction of errors. Trial of impeachments. Jacob L. Sebring versus Jackson and Hausman and others versus Thomas Carpenter and Jacob L. Sebring. Writ of error. The above evident title cause having been issued and directed to the Justice Supreme Court of the state, the same is returned. 20th day of January 1819. Alright. I got this over at Stanford. It was a microfilm. Be it remembered, in the 14th day of August, the same term, the Justice of the Peace, Justice of the People of the Supreme Court, certain bill. Thomas Carpenter, 205. I don't even understand what this is saying. To wit. I don't know, it's a bunch of fluff to say there's going to be some kind of case. I looked this up on the web somewhere, and there was a bunch of lots on the Raritan River or something like that, and there was some problem with title. Apparently, when they bought the land from the Indians or something, if they did, there wasn't recorded. I don't know. But if in here, the important part is this. I'm trying to say they're squatting. I don't think it names this. It might or might not name his children. Where's why I'm looking at this? Oh, this is going on for an hour. I'm going to pause till I see something important. Alright, so that didn't produce much of anything. There was some kind of... They're called the Raritan lots. I don't know, some kind of dispute. No big deal. So I've done what I can. Basically, these were early Dutch immigrants. There are claims that this Roloff was the progenitor, didn't come to America or anything like that. I don't have anything to prove this other than it's in Sebring collections. The idea that this Jan Roloff Sebring married Adriana Polhemus. Could I'll have to look to see whether there's some kind of will for Johannes Theodorus Polhemus. And I would expect that Jan Roloff say would have one too. So April 1703. I'll look. All right, I'm curious. I'm gonna look. Okay, for 1703 or thereabouts. So we got two of them, huh? All right. So this one doesn't work. Maybe the next one will. Let's put it around here for Sebring or Sebring or Sebring or something that looks kind of close. This part's gonna be boring. Yeats. Two possible books. Check the back just to see whether there's any stuff or if it ends like it's expected to. There's an index here. Alright, and there's this other will book. I like the rejected wills. I want to see those. Alright, so I'm looking for and this one. Volume 5. There we go. Conservation of space. What the heck is going on here? I'm looking for Sarah Roloff. See, Roloff. That is. Those are the first one. That's R. And there's none for earlier Sebrings. Now, Sarah Roloff's does actually matter, and she was I'm confused. I might be confused with Annika Jans. Yes, I think I am. But I think Sarah Roloffs has something to do with that. Yeah, there we go. So his name is Roloff Jansen, and daughter was Sarah Roloff. So this is her will, actually, that puts the connection. What is the connection? Married to Kierstead, married to the Kipp family, which is supposed to connect. What's the matter here? Which one? I forgot. I know that's not it. Enriquez, I thought. Cornelia, I thought. Balthazar, I thought. Wait, is that a P? French. That's strange. There's just Catherine and the Kipps. What bloody hell's going on here? Right, because Helena Lowe. Okay, so yeah, so Sarah Roloffs, who was the daughter of Annika Jans, married into Kierstead family, which married into the Kipp family, which now we can see it. Kept going until married into the Lowe family, and there's Judith Lowe to Sebring. There's some claim that the Trinity Church was stolen from our family. So unfortunately, I guess, what's this other index here? I mean, I'm probably not going to see. I'm looking for S. It's not going to happen. Sebring. I wonder if Polhemus had a will. He probably wouldn't. It's the Theodorus. This dude. He showed up broke and complained his whole life about how he's underpaid. So I don't think he's going to have a will. Well, couldn't be. You live that long? How dare you live that long, Polhemus? Yeah, 1676. Let's try it. That'd be too late. No. No. It was actually Latinized. Rockland, Johannes. John. Queens County is not Kings County, is it? That is way too late. Or I could just cheat and check the internet because they got stuff for all this stuff. So let's do this. Do you have any proof besides their word. It's probably some historical context. How we know who they, you know, how we know, Where's the Lost Ark? A woodcut of the era shows Protestants being hanged in their shirts by the underpants by Catholics. There's the ship. And you finally made it to Lang Island. Whoa. Church at Flatbush. Holy shit. Where are the gravestones? That probably would not have been ruined by the British. Find a grave. Do all the interments. Well, unfucking believable. They don't have a gravestone there. Yeah, there's no grave. They don't have a picture. They don't have a picture of a gravestone here, okay? Theodore Polhemus. Well, Theodore. Yeah, so we're not finding a grave, you know. I want find a grave to be a place where you find graves, not passed on record. I want to be able to look at the gravestone. I want to be able to see the record. Okay. I think this is part of a matter of history, I guess. Theodore. Johannes. Theodorus. Caesarius Polhemus. Yeah, that thing. I want to see some original records. I don't think he's being treated like Spider-Man or something. You know, does he exist? All right. Yeah, we got a bunch of stuff written. That's great. You could write a bunch of stuff, but you know. Yeah, I want records. I don't. Note. Warning. I do not know where this marriage took place or if it ever did. Some records just don't survive. All right. Yeah, this is kind of like the story of the Ponce de Leon's Fountain of Youth. I want to do this. Because since we have Google has tools, and they're free tools. And God saw that the free tools were good. The Raritan, its early Holland settlers. Santa Claus. I want to see the real stuff. That's a record, but you know, how do I know? John Sudian. That's interesting. That is really, really interesting. Did we not just see a name like that? I think we did. All right. Family of Polhemus. Yes, we have stories to tell, but where the hell did you get the story in the first place? Are we playing just a game of telephone? What's this? Morris County. The hell? Genealogical record of Cheyenne, Wyoming. No, it's actually reasonable they'd be there. Yearbook of Holland Society. Now this, I would... George Weeks. Mr. Polhemus joined the Holland Society in 1912 by right of claim from descent of Johannes Theodorus Polhemus. We reject your claims. All right, now this stuff work on. I don't think I'm gonna find nothing. I could find books on Blackbeard, but am I gonna find books that aren't regurgitations of fairy tales? No, I'm kidding. No, this is probably real. The question is, how do we find some of the original stuff? Well, this is what we can do. Let me tell you what I'm going to do. Go to my tree here. When you can't find something, sometimes Ancestry will come looking for you. So Johannes Theodorus. I'll go with Polhemus. P-O-L, there it is. Johannes. Alright, Johannes, give me a little green leaf. Come on. Give me a green leaf, Johannes. Where are my hints, Johannes? 9th great-grandfather, that's amazing. There's my leaf. Okay. 37 hints. I want to see something real. I don't want other ancestry trees. Okay, because that's just like a passenger list? Yeah. Right. French pirate frigate. Yeah, they give a passenger list. Okay, yeah, really. Early settlers. He's in a book, so it's a passenger list. I get it. That makes sense. You know, it says when he left. No, it didn't say when he left, does it? And this is not an original record. This is a regurgitation. Blech. This is regurgitation. That's a regurgitation. I'm not looking for regurgitations. I'm not looking for another regurgitation. Or a fancy Millennium file, which is a regurgitation. I'm looking for the real damn thing. They don't exist. It's just, it was known. It's just a piece of information that was it's just known. Everybody just knows. And there's your proof. there's your proof. Because everybody just knows. Burials at sea. I don't think he died at sea. How could you have a grave underwater? How can you have a grave that's underwater? What? They got a picture of the guy from 1600? Let's take a look. What do you look like? Oh, that's another ancestry record, yeah. Right, thought so. Alright. There's another claim to have a grave site. Alright, so yeah, it's gotta be some kind of historical account somewhere in the Google sphere. Okay, this is February 9th, 1655. These are transcriptions of what people wrote. Before the board appeared Domine Polhemus, provisional preacher, provisional, he's on probation, preacher in the village of Midwout, who asked pecuniary help, producing a letter from the Honorable Journal, which reads, "Could you please let me send my letter? His Honor the Physical will please assist and accommodate during my absence the bearer thereof, Dom Polhemus. The matter is required by him, with wampum, 5 or 6 pounds of powder." Being asked several times how might he be accommodated and assisted now, he answered he would ask for no more than the council was willing to give, and the council said, "Well, we're only willing to give what you ask for," and they went in circles. He died of starvation in a... No, he didn't. The council replied they had received considerable sums, and there was still somebody paying the count of the merchants. He answered that he would be satisfied with 30 florins and wampum now. just ask for it. Brooklyn. Didn't he have a collection bucket in his church? Before the board appeared, that's what I'd say if I went back in time. Didn't they have a collection bucket in your church? Preacher wears more work when it comes to the sun. Yeah, quit complaining, dude. This report concerning the wife of Reverend Polhemus. You know, I've loaned these people 200 frickin' guilders and they haven't paid me shit. Is this the preacher? So he has a wife. We gotta figure out what her name is. Or we could try to see if the Vanderwerven person had a will, but it's probably not going to happen. God has led Dominic Johannes Polhemus from Brazil over the Caribbean islands to this place. He has for the present gone to Long Island, a village called Midwout, which is somewhat in the metulium of the other village, to wit, Brooklyn, Emmisford, and Gravesend. There he has preached for the accommodation of inhabitants on Sundays during the winter. He's administered the sacraments to the satisfaction of all. As to William Vistians, who was the schoolmaster sexton there, I could neither do much nor say much in his favour to the council. Later, a few Jews came upon the same ship as the Polhemus. They were healthy but poor. It would have been proper that they should have been supported by their own people. What the fuck are they saying? They've been at our charge so that there were people that needed support, and that's part of the story, actually. That there were people of that faith on the boat. Directed them to the Jewish merchants. Oh, Jesus Christ. Let's move on. The Reverend Deputy's report they have secured for the wife assistance from the directors of the West India Company. The amount of 100 guilders. Not a penny more. As a loan. Wow. Holy mackerel. Jonas McClellius. This guy. That'd be kind of cool. No, it's not. The affairs. This week, 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock on ABC. The affairs of Reverend Polhemus. After As the World Turns. The deputies report they have secured aid for the wife. Can we already read this? The wife of Polhemus makes known to the meeting that her husband has requested in letters that she, with her children, should come to him from come hither to New Netherland. Having arrived there, he had great hope of being called to the service of a church in that locality. He requests the advice of this assembly as to what should we do in the premises, whereupon preacher has informed us by letter of his willingness to remain in New Netherland. I need to not be impoverished, thank you. After many consultation, we decided and resolved on the judgment made by the Portuguese Jews that they shall have permission to sail and trade in New Netherland, to live and remain there, provided the poor among them shall not become a burden of the company. It's company policy. Please stand by. Your call is important to us. This church can have been read. This request. The Synod of North Holland. Article 42. Did you order the code red? No. Regarding Article 48, trading after many difficulties, he had arrived in New Netherland and has been accompanied by them to the message directions. The stress of his wife. She asked for the arrears for her husband's salary, but that was stolen. But she could obtain nothing except for 100 guilders that had been given her by them. That was a loan. Doesn't seem to understand that part. So, do we think he's got a will? I don't think so. Exempt the Jews from military service. Okay, whatever. Expulsion of the Swedes from Delaware. Get out of here, you dirty Swedes. What's this all about? Immediately after the surrender of Fort Christiana, Sturtevant ordered in compliance with his instructions to restore the place of rising on honorable and fair conditions, and made him accordingly tender of the keys to be. But these the Swede refused. The matter was no longer within the province. He unleashed the dogs and turned them into Swedish meat, and he preferred to abide by the capitulation. Father Lemoyne. I want to learn more about, Polhemus. So what I'm going to do. How long are we going on here? Vander Werven. Is that what it is? Werven. And it isn't really clear between all these different accounts. Yeah, not doing that. St. Nicholas Society. So I don't know. I mean, everybody just seems to believe this is what happened. I mean, look at this. See what Wikipedia says. When all is lost, you go to Wikipedia. Then they have all these it's got to be in here. You know what? Wikitree. Wikisource. Who wrote this? Forgotten New York. First Reformed Church. They put a Macy's on it. On the church. They put a Macy's on the church. Where do they put a Macy's? What? Huh? WikiLeaks? What? WikiLeaks? Yeah, okay, let's look at this now. I guess it's an Illuminati document, and the descendants of Johannes, Theodorus, Polhemus are all conspiring together. What? Listen. Now a tea room. Pretty. All right, so yeah, that's about as much as I'm gonna do.